It's V-Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Little craft beer festival going on outside Lenovo Center. Why is this the first we're hearing of that? A fabulous Saturday for ACC basketball to begin conference play, and a big one between Florida State and North Carolina State here at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. It's so great to be with you as we begin conference play. There's always this one opening game early in December. It feels weird, but it is here. ACC play. Kevin Brown, Debbie Antonelli, and after a tough week for the ACC, this is a big game for these teams.
Well, you know, both these teams are coming off a loss to the SEC. However, they are very similar in style. They both switch in their man-to-man defense. They both like to play fast. They're both going to have to be better at executing in the quarter court, especially if the game slows down.
Two teams that lost but did acquit themselves pretty well in the SEC-ACC challenge. And for Florida State, nobody acquitted themselves better than Malik Ewing.
Yeah, what a load on the interior he provided for Leonard Hamilton's team. 17 rebounds, 11 on the offensive end. He can score left or right. His versatility offensively is so solid around the rim. Now, on the defensive end, because he can guard ball screen action and he can switch on the perimeter, they do switch 1 through 5, and he moves his feet on the defensive end and does a really good job of staying out of foul trouble.
NC State and Kevin Keats, meanwhile, a game they feel like they could have and probably should have won. A big opportunity against Texas Wednesday. Only allowed 2 offensive rebounds in the first half, but 11 in the second, and then 6 of 14 from the line. Big chances, Debbie, for a signature win. They haven't gotten the big non-conference win yet, so now they need to get a big win to start conference play.
So when you look at the NC State numbers, 3 in double figures, but you got a couple of guys at 9, so you have a balanced offensive attack. You got to keep it simple. Run the floor hard, move the ball, and look to attack. The guards have to get downhill, and if they get to the free throw line, they got to be able to make their free throws.
North Carolina State, a Final Four team, that Cinderella run from a season ago, looking to start conference play with a win. Florida State hoping to be back among the ACC's best. Opening tip from Raleigh is on the way. Florida State Seminoles 7-2. North Carolina State Wolfpack 5-3. There's the FSU star Jamir Watkins on one side of the North Carolina State starting 5 on the other. Jaden Taylor, the Wolfpack's leading scorer at 13.5 per game. NC State began the season 5-0. They've lost 3 straight to power conference opponents, Purdue and BYU by 10 and 11 respectively in San Diego, and then Texas by 4. The NC State crowd ready for its first ACC game since, of course, that insane run last year. 5-5 to win the ACC tournament, and then 4 straight wins to get to the Final Four. But this is a new season, and this is largely a new North Carolina State team, though 3 starters return from a year ago. Florida State, it's almost an entirely new team. Chandler Jackson in your picture right there, one of just 3 returners for Leonard Hamilton, but it's a very athletic group. He likes this young team. We'll see what they do now that the ACC has begun play. Ted Valentine, Clarence Armstrong, Trey Stians are officials. NC State with the first possession.
We'll watch Florida State switch 1 through 5. So here comes the 5 screen, trying to get that matchup with the 1 on the 5.
And they are comfortable switching because they are the 2nd tallest team in the nation. Super athletic and one of the best teams in the nation at taking the ball away. They do there with a 6'10" Taylor Bowen. And an open 3 on the other side. It will miss from Bowen. The rebound for Marcus Hill Jr. NC State starting 5. Brandon Huntley Hatfield to the bench for the 2nd time this year. And there's the one big, Ben Middlebrooks, who gets the roll in from Hill, O'Connell, Taylor, and then Dontre Styles off his best game with NC State back in the starting 5. For Florida State, it's Watkins, Boston, Holt, Jackson, Bowen, and Ewan. And Watkins misses a 3. The rebound to Middlebrooks.
Neither one of these teams great 3-point shooting teams, and NC State has to get on the defensive glass so they can play the tempo they want. They have to keep it simple by running the floor hard and moving the ball.
NC State, one of the worst three-point shooting teams in a power conference. They went 0 for 10 earlier in a game this year, went over Coastal. There's an offensive foul against Middlebrooks. Charging into the 6'7" senior Boston Holt. Middlebrooks, the game's first foul.
And see, Kevin, you know you're going to get that switch. You're going to end up with a smaller defender. Here you've got a smaller defender. You don't need that kind of contact to be able to score over the top of him.
So Middlebrooks will charge after the first basket for NC State. And here are the Seminoles, who will go 9, 10, maybe 11 deep. These two teams both in the top 5 in the ACC in blocks and steals. Florida State top 10 in the nation in block rate and steal rate, and they will commit an offensive foul. O'Connell draws the charge on Bull Bowen.
So when you have two teams that are similar in defensive style, they both turn you over, they both make it challenging for you to run your stuff, you've got to find easy scoring. Easy scoring can come in playing in transition, picking up the pace. It can come from getting to the free throw line by getting downhill. It also can come from your situational offense. Baseline out of bounds after timeouts.
Two teams both in the top 2 in the ACC in blocks and turnover margin and three-point defense. So two defensively disruptive teams. Middlebrooks inside. Into the corner, Hill, and his three will bounce home. Marcus Hill Jr., 11.5 per game with a North Carolina State three, only his 4th of the year.
Really unselfish play by Ben Middlebrooks to give up the 2 for an open corner 3.
As you mentioned, Deb, we just don't see a lot of threes from this NC State team.
But you got to play inside out. It's the best opportunity to set up your three-point shooting. And this is keeping it simple, Kevin. Run the floor hard, get to the deep corner, play inside out. Nice job by the Wolfpack.
Middlebrooks has a basket and an assist for the first 5 points. Watkins, Florida State's leading scorer at 17 per game, works his way into the paint and flips it in for the first 2 for the Noles.
Now, Leonard Hamilton is relying on his 6'7", last year's honorable mention All-ACC performer. He's the most versatile scorer that Florida State has.
Dontrez Styles. We got a foul on Chandler Jackson inside away from the action.
And so when you switch 1 through 5 like Leonard Hamilton, you end up with guards on bigs. And when you're a guard stuck on a big, what you're trying to do is front, because you can't let them just catch it. They'll score over the top of you. That time Chandler Jackson got caught trying to front.
How different is it for NC State as Styles misses 3, because even the guards are big for Florida State?
Well, they can invert to the block and it's a problem. You got to make sure you have good help.
Whoa, Ewan! A skyscraping slam on the lob from Watkins. So if you haven't seen Malik Ewan play, now you know just what he can do. Junior College National Player of the Year a season ago with his first 2.
Look at him defending the point guard for NC State, O'Connell. He's even out denying the pass.
30 feet from the hoop, Ewan.
You don't see many 5s doing that.
That's amazing.
That's how much confidence Leonard Hamilton has in him. He spoke to us this morning at shoot-around about how good of a job Ewan does moving his feet on the defensive end. You know, when he has had 7-footer, 7'2" guys, it's harder to switch 1 through 5. As Ewan in transition, no pressure on the ball, none. The passer, great finish at the rim behind the NC State defense.
Ewan coming back to the ball, did get hit with that foul. So free throws for Marcus Hill Jr., who was a first-team All-MAC player at Bowling Green a year ago, and there is Ewan. 2024 JUCO National Player of the Year, South Plains JUCO in Texas. Began his career at Ole Miss. And it feels like for Florida State, he's just beginning to scrape the surface of his potential. You mentioned what a legacy of great bigs Leonard Hamilton's had.
Good start for NC State to knock down their free throws. Florida State's not a great free throw shooting team either.
NC State's got Brandon Huntley-Hatfield in the game for the first time, wearing 1. Chandler Jackson tries to drive on him, and Jackson hits the little step-back floater.
Same principles defensively on the other side, right? You got the big trying to guard the perimeter, put it on the floor, try to get to the rim. The improvement of Chandler Jackson is obvious. Down 15 pounds from last year, playing a more significant leadership role for Florida State.
3 straight makes for Florida State after an 0-for-4 start. Hill's pass knocked up in the air by Jackson. It will stay with NC State with 10 to go. Good shooting start for both teams. Seminoles and Wolfpack, the first of 20 ACC games in the 24-25 year. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by McDonald's. 5 wins, 5 days over the other 5 national champions in the ACC. That was the iconic shot from Michael O'Connell, a buzzer-beating 3 to force overtime in the semis against Virginia. NC State would beat UNC in the championship game, and despite a 9-11 regular season, despite a 4-game losing streak into the ACC tournament, they win 9 straight elimination games, and it was really the second coming of the cardiac pack, as O'Connell, one of the heroes on that team, finishes for 2.
And that's a situation that I'm talking about, Kevin. ATOs being able to score and execute. Nice job by Michael O'Connell to absorb a little contact and still finish.
First basket for the graduate student from Stanford, second-year point guard. Watkins deep one, no good. Bull Bowen lost the ball on the way up. It will go back to NC State. Well, Kevin Keats went from hot seat to contract extension. He got a 2-year extension. He got a whole bunch of bonuses, leading NC State to the Final Four. He told us before the game, you know, there were good moments, but we really didn't play great basketball until we got off the plane in DC.
Then it was magical.
Yeah. What was it like for you to watch that run, having been so close to that team?
Well, it was incredible for everyone around Wolfpack Nation, that's for sure. And I didn't get to see all the games because I was working myself, but I was rooting for them from afar.
I mean, we were here in mid-January last year, and it looked like an okay NC State team. There were no signs of this, really, and it's a good reminder that in this era of college basketball, where rosters are changed wholesale every year, you know a lot about these teams now, but you really don't know a lot about these teams for a couple more months.
That's the beauty of it, right? Is that you're going to watch these teams get better. You're going to watch them come together. You're going to see the chemistry unfold. And during that NCAA tournament run, because I was working the NCAA tournament myself for CBS, our production crew was kind enough to keep me up to date during the games, and once in a while they throw a little something up on the screen, so I was able to follow the Wolfpack's run.
Took down Duke again in the Elite Eight, and they lost eventually to Purdue, but could not sully the magical run it was. Here's Watkins, strong to the basket. A finish and a foul. Jameer Watkins will head to the line.
Jameer Watkins at 6'7" has incredible length and great contact balance. Gets a hit, but stays with it, keeps his eyes on the rim. In the offseason, he dipped his toe in the NBA portal. He also put himself in the transfer portal, and then he came back. It's quite a timeline of about 6 weeks. And I know Coach Hamilton's glad to have Jameer Watkins back on his roster.
All ACC season ago. He's been a double figures in 27 of his last 28. Only didn't hit that mark against Tarleton earlier this year. Ties the game at 9. He's got 5 of the first 9 for FSU. Trey Parker's got the ball right now, the freshman for NC State. Again, pass on the floor for the first time as well. Can shoot it wearing number 4 in red and white.
It's a really small lineup on the floor.
Pass, end of the shot clock. Justin Thomas on him. Step back 3 is good. 3-on pass.
And he high-fives Madison Hayes and Sanaya Rivers, the 2 guards for NC State, on his way back up the floor.
And for a team that is not shooting it well from 3, maybe they get past more looks. He's now 6 for 12. He got switched onto Ewan for a moment there. Watkins passes up to 3 and gets back to the line.
There's Madison Hayes and Sanaya Rivers. They also came close to winning a national championship last year. There's pass with the bucket. And then right there to greet him, a couple of his buddies on the women's team.
That's awesome. The center of the college basketball universe for a little while back in March. NC State, Final Four and Final Four.
They're coming off a big win in the ACC SEC Challenge with a win over Ole Miss.
Yeah, how good does the women's team look this year?
They look good. I mean, their guards are excellent. They're missing a little help on the inside. Westmore's figuring it out. But they are elite in the backcourt.
I know you said North Carolina looks really strong too. Another loaded year for ACC women's hoops coming up.
North Carolina and Duke women both are having their best teams under their head coaches. And Notre Dame is looking pretty good also. Must-see TV on the ACC on the women's side.
We'll have those games on all sorts of our family networks: ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ACC network, all throughout the year. Watkins has had a very nice start. He's now got 7. And looks like Jameer will get a blow for the first time. The freshman A.J. Swinton comes on.
A.J. Swinton getting early minutes, only played 5 minutes against LSU.
Leonard Hamilton told us today A.J. Swinton is one of the most athletic players he's ever had. 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan out of the D.C. area.
The defensive habits for Florida State are so good. They're on the catch, high hands, contest, and that's a great crash from the weak side by Dennis Parker Jr.
Only a 1.6 per game score, their lone sophomore. Thomas just hounded down the floor, barely got it over the timeline in time. Jaden Taylor smothering him. Taylor is an outstanding defender. Took a lot of the Trey Johnson assignment against Texas. There's the freshman Daquan Davis. This is the most advanced of the 5-man freshman class for Florida State. Kevin Cates pointing out a spot for the younger Parker, Trey Parker. Pass, thinking about another 3.
The length of Florida State is an issue for every team in the ACC. Leonard Hamilton always knows what he's going to get on this end of the floor.
And Jerry Dang secures the rebound off the Taylor miss. And here comes Dang running the floor, and a wild lob. Too tall for the freshman big Alir Malouk. It is year 23 at Florida State for Leonard Hamilton. Last year of his contract, but feels like there's a renewed sense of life to this team. Has missed the NCAA tournament the last 3 years. They were picked 15th in the ACC, but they certainly look better than that. Now the 2 power conference teams they face, they've lost to both Florida and LSU, but a good fight against a really good, maybe top 10 Florida team. And then the LSU game felt like they really crumbled defensively in the second half. Lost that game on the road eventually by 10. Here's Hill, got the switch to the 7-foot Malouk, and he'll take it back against him. Hill trying to get past Malouk, goes to the offhand and scores.
Marcus Hill getting downhill, if you will. Doing a nice job of attacking.
Is that how you have to
take a big inside?
Is that how you attack these bigs for Florida State?
Yeah, you can get inside off the pin on them, but you also have to be ready not just to score, but be ready to make a play for someone else. There's a turnover.
A telegraph bypass. Davis, no foul. Long rebound down to Hill. Blows past Malouk. O'Connell a 3. It's short and then it's long. Over the top of the basket to take us to the 12-minute timeout. Nice start there for Marcus Hill.
Marcus Hill, the 6'4" senior, led the Mid-American Conference last year in scoring because he could do this. The crossover, which he worked on right before the game, and the finish at the rim.
Florida State's best start in a few years, 7-2. Best team they've beaten, like Temple, on a neutral floor around 130 in the net. So this is a big step up in competition. They've missed the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row. Remember, they had made it 4 straight, 17-21, would have been 5. They were the regular season ACC champs in 2020. Jameer Watkins is their top returning, and he's one of only 3 returning players. Talking to Leonard Hamilton, talked a lot about the state of the game and how things are, and having to turn over a roster year in and year out. And you know, Chandler Jackson is in his 3rd year at Florida State. He's the only player who's been with Leonard Hamilton for more than 2 years.
It requires a different level of teaching. It's a different level of urgency. It's the way you prepare now. These guys come in, and a lot of them have had experience in other systems, and now you're trying to get them to defend and play the way Leonard Hamilton wants them to play, and play 20 or 25 minutes, not play 35 minutes. That's not the Florida State way.
Way short by the freshman Malute. Here's Middlebrooks. He traveled. That's the 5th NC State turnover. What do you make of the way that this young team, this inexperienced team, has picked up the Florida State way through 9 games?
I think they're going to continue to get better and better, and they're not a team you want to see later because they're long and athletic on the perimeter, which allows them to switch 1 through 5. They are learning to play with the kind of pace that Leonard Hamilton wants them to play with. When you've got 7 guys that average between 7 and 17 points, and you've got 9 guys that play between 12 and 26, you naturally have a chemistry component that you have to work through. And then you figure out who you trust in a late game situation, Kevin, and then you go and win the game. That's how it works.
This has been the guy they've trusted the most. Watkins back on the floor with an early 7. Austin Holt into the lane. He leaves it short. And there'll be a foul on Bull Bowen. Still no offensive rebounds for Florida State. A big point of emphasis for Kevin Keats.
And when you're going against the 2nd tallest team in NCAA Division I basketball, you have to send everyone to the defensive boards. NC State's done a good job through the first 10 minutes of this game.
Foul was officially Bull Bowen's 2nd for Florida State. He's still on the floor. O'Connell catch and shoot. Good for 3. NC State's 3rd.
That's a couple of late clock 3-point buckets.
And then Parker, who had the assist, just rips it away from Watkins. Hill down the floor, and he gets hit hard. And it was Bull Bowen charging back, so that's a 3rd foul for the 6'10" Taylor Bull Bowen.
Because of the depth of Florida State, usually Leonard Hamilton doesn't mind letting a guy play with 2, but there again, you got to find out who you can trust. Bull Bowen, a 6'10" sophomore.
So free throws for Hill. Kevin Keats told us Marcus Hill has to get to the line and he has to make more of his shots. He was only 14 for 26 coming in, but he was a 74% free throw shooter at Bowling Green.
It goes back to your point, Kevin, about Florida State not getting any offensive rebounds. NC State's been able to get out on the break because they've been able to rebound on the defensive end.
They're typically a very strong fast break team. Nice pass by Ewan. Watkins will return to the line. Pace on this game a little slower than maybe expected so far.
A lot slower than I thought. I mean, both teams need to find easy buckets, right? So I thought they would be pushing a little bit more, but I think the tempo is going to pick up situationally.
Foul the 2nd on O'Connell for NC State. Kevin Keats does not often play players with 2 fouls in the first half. O'Connell looked over his shoulder, but he is going to stay in there. Watkins snapping a 3-minute 17-second scoring drought at the line. He hits both. And now here comes the sub. And now after the 2nd free throw, O'Connell will check out. Trey Parker, the freshman, back in.
Well, it gives NC State to get organized in their press offense. Full court man-to-man defense. Now this is one way you can speed up the tempo of the game.
We'll see how Parker handles it. Freshman in his 8th career game. Wolfpack 7 for 11 from the field so far. Hit some tough shots. Taylor, there's another. Taylor is fouled. Watkins and Hamilton both thought Watkins went straight up. He's hit with his first foul.
Jaden Taylor, the leading scorer for NC State. This is his first opportunity for points in the half.
Well, big ACC day of basketball and an enormous day of ACC football. 8 Eastern tonight on ABC, the ACC Championship. Clemson and SMU. First year in the league for SMU, on undefeated. The winner gets probably the number 3 seed if it's SMU. We'll see with Clemson. A automatic spot in the college football playoff 12. If Clemson wins, they're in, and we'll see about SMU. They're a bubble team if they lose. Dang buries a 3 for Florida State. Jerry Dang, their best 3-point shooter.
71% of the shot attempts that Jerry Dang takes are outside the 3-point line. You got to know personnel and run him off the 3-point line.
6'9" sophomore of Hampton University.
There's that Iverson cut over the top right into a ball screen. And of course, Florida State just switches all that action. Nice take off the bounce. How about Marcus Hill? He's looking to turn the corner and score.
Just got lost amidst the trees there. Hill's into double figures already. 3 of 3 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. NC State by 6. Ewan hard to the basket. Middlebrooks walled him up. Malik Ewan just a second shot attempt. Step back 3, not even close from Taylor. Middlebrooks on the offensive glass, and then Middlebrooks had a bounce into his hands and out of bounds to Florida State.
Yeah, I think that's a tough contested 3 for Jaden Taylor. He's trying to get himself going, but one way to get yourself going is to do some other things. Rebound, play some D, and he's going to come out, I think, because he took a tough shot. But Ben Middlebrooks' effort on the offensive glass needs to be noted, too. He led this team in offensive rebounding last year, and a lot of that was a byproduct of DJ Burns getting double-teamed, but also his effort.
Middlebrooks contested that shot from Jackson. Chased down, and NC State's got it. Here's Parker charging down the floor, and it's blocked right into the basket by Deng. Great minutes for Dennis Parker Jr. early.
Well, that was the other thing that Kevin Keats told us before the game. He wanted to get Dennis Parker Jr. and Trey Parker some minutes early.
Another 3. That one will not go from Deng. There's the first offensive rebound, but Middlebrooks cleans it up with a block shot on Ewan.
That's the kind of effort that Ben Middlebrooks can bring.
Hill on 2.
That's a heat check.
And then Hill will track it down off the tip. 3 for the freshman Paul McNeil, just into the game, is short. But a huge hand when he came into the game, number 46 player in the class.
Isn't it interesting that Kevin Keats, going against the second tallest team in the country, is using a smaller lineup?
Yes.
He's going with quickness in the backcourt.
Seen Pascal out there. We see McNeil, Parker. Florida State just 6 for 17 from the field. They've only hit 1 3-pointer. Deep clock, Watkins. Middlebrooks lying in wait, and then a foul is called late. It's against Trey Parker. Eruption from the NC State bench on the call by Clarence Armstrong. But NC State defending well. Florida State just one of its last 9, and the Pack taking it to the Noles.
.6'4" senior transfer, Marcus Hill. He's got a triple. He's 3 for 4 from the floor. He's made 3 out of 4 free throws. He is looking to turn the corner. He is looking to punish the switching defense of Florida State. He's got 10 points so far here in the first half.
Leading scorer last season in the MAC, 20.5 per game, 4-time MAC Player of the Week. And he only had 9 points total against Purdue and BYU. Really his first taste of that higher major action, but 16 against Texas, 7 for 11. The early 10 points here, shooting 3 for 4. Where do you see his game evolving over the course of the conference season?
I think he's got to set up his perimeter game by driving the basketball to the basket. And I think he also, not only right now, his scout is drive to score. He's going to have to start being able to drive to spray and dish, because otherwise, you know, he's not going to make anybody else better. And this team is a team that by committee needs to move the ball.
Saw that last year. Obviously, DJ Burns was a brilliant passer. DJ Horn could set up a teammate, late shot clock too, and of course O'Connell, who's back on the floor. Interesting for NC State. Brandon Huntley Hatfield's only played 2 minutes and 44 seconds in this game. Hasn't taken a shot. O'Connell had that deflected, squeezed it through to Hill. He'll drive again. Dontrez Styles has taken just 1 shot in 6 minutes. It's been, as you mentioned, a smaller lineup for Kevin Keats.
It's been effective on both ends of the floor. It's worked. The quickness.
Hill's going to get called for a carry there. How does Florida State exploit that lineup?
Here's the thing, Kevin. Florida State's playing on top of the floor. Okay, they got to get the ball below the free throw line. They've got to punish the switches on the interior. And so if you just pass the ball back and forth, play on top, and allow NC State to switch and never penetrate below the free throw line, you're not setting up your teammates to be able to move in space off that penetration.
Only hit 1 field goal since Davis got the ball now. Hit a jumper at 12:59. 1 field goal in nearly a 7-minute span. 1 for 9 from the field for the Seminoles.
The other thing too, Kevin, is points per possession as Ewan goes up to finish. Nice play off the timeout by Leonard Hamilton's team. That's a set call from the bench. But what I was going to say about Florida State is they score, according to Synergy, points per possession, more points off cuts than anything else. The second thing is the pick and roll man, which was that play right there. The screen and the roll, and Ewan stuffs it.
Another drive. That one will squeeze in from Styles, his first bucket. Georgetown transfer coming off a 17 against Texas. Both Styles and Huntley Hatfield have returned to the floor. Watkins wants a screen from Deng. Watkins will take it himself. And Watkins hit, deflected away by Styles. Kevin Keats screaming out a play from a crouch over on the sideline. Only Hatfield's tangled up with Ewan right now. O'Connell trying to worm around Deng. That's a tough shot, and he got fouled at the end of it.
He got bailed out.
Wait, 26 seconds of good defense, and then this.
Yeah, this is the right idea. You got a big on you, shot clock running down. Michael O'Connell makes good decisions. I'm not sure where the foul was.
Looked like Jackson just maybe walked into him at the end, and he's called for his second. So NC State now 6 of 7 at the line. Jackson will head to the bench. Watkins takes a seat as well.
Yeah, Michael O'Connell, a steady performer for Kevin Keats. Typically very consistent. He struggled from the free throw line in the early part of the season, but he typically makes really good decisions with the basketball, and he certainly knows NC State's personnel very well on the floor.
Davis with a drive, passes up a layup opportunity, and then Deng, the long arms can't roll it home. Here's O'Connell again, pushing it for 3. It's short from Styles. Now some tempo in the game. Ewan, touch pass, Deng, smothered and fouled. Dontrez Styles picks up his first, and NC State's 6th.
I don't think this is a bad foul. Deng's not a great free throw shooter. Dontrez Styles picks up the foul, trying to defend the rim.
Should say that's the second against Styles. So here is Jerry Deng. That's the first.
That looked pretty good.
That looked like the great three-point shooter version of Jerry Deng. Comes from Hampton, where he shot 39% from 3 a year ago. Born in Rochester, New York, his family moved from South Sudan. They're refugees just before he was born, moved to the States. Then lived in a few places, native of Norcross, Georgia now, hoping to find a home in Tallahassee. 6-point game under 4 to play. Then he'll protect there. Back up as Hill drives it at him. And then Hill gets fouled. Then a couple of those fouls from a secondary Florida State defender. Hill will have more free throws coming when we return to close out the first half in Raleigh. First half controlled by NC State. That is Trey Steins, one of our officials today. And you can see the patch on the right sleeve, RS. It's for Trey's father, Ramey Steins. Not just Trey. Officials all across the country are wearing hearts, wristbands, green ribbons on the warm-ups to honor his father, Ramey. 35 years as an official. Passed away this August. Debbie, somebody I know you got to know in your years around the game. A very special man and a wonderful official.
Heartbreaking for Ramey and his family, including his son Trey, who had some nice words with us before the game, how appreciative he was of how the ACC and college basketball has remembered his dad.
Was 35 years, 17 in this league in the ACC, where he was really well known. So thinking about Ramey and the entire Steins family all season, and wonderful that we still get to see a Steins run up and down the floor, continue the family legacy in the stripes this year. Part of the crew today with Ted Valentine, Clarence Armstrong, as NC State leads this game by 7. Marcus Hill's got 11 for the Wolfpack. Samir Watkins has 11 for Florida State. The rest of his team has 12, and Watkins is currently off the floor.
Good ball pressure by NC State.
Dang, good closeout by Taylor on the three-point shooter. Deep shot clock again for the Noles. There have been a lot of these. Davis just trying to draw something, and he does. A bailout with 1.2 ticks on the clock.
I mean, you can't let him split this right here, and that's what he does. It's a really good take by Daquan Davis off the bounce. Trying to make a play late in the clock.
Dennis Parker Jr.'s hit with a foul. A freshman from Baltimore, Maryland. That was a non-shooting foul, so it's a 1-and-1. 8-point per game score, leads them with 2.2 assists. Five-man freshman class. Leonard Hamilton said Davis may be the most advanced. He's the one smaller guy on the roster. He's the only one scholarship player who's under 6'5". That one knocked away from Taylor. A steal. Watkins collects it. He is fouled. Kevin Keats incensed as the whistle came after the contact, but Watkins will shoot 2 more.
What he's more frustrated about is not being able to get the ball in bounds against full court man-to-man defense, which you knew was coming after the made free throws. And I would call that a patient whistle. If that shot had gone in, I don't think he would have blown the whistle.
It was Parker again, back-to-back fouls. Question is, did he get the hand of Watkins on the way up? And Watkins is now 8 for 8 at the line. Can be the judge.
See, we were on the same angle as the official. Right there, you see a scrape across the arm. That's why the patient whistle came, which I like, because that has to do with pace of game, keeping the game moving.
Parker picks up 2 fouls in about 3 seconds. Watkins had a game where he shot 22 free throws earlier this year. He's on that pace. He's 9 for 9 in the first half. Florida State's 12 for 13 at the line.
Well, Florida State's full court defense has taken NC State deep into the shot clock and is forcing them to, I think he just traveled, changing his pivot feet, forcing the NC State to make decisions 94 feet.
Taylor Just smothered by a couple of Seminoles. Parker's the outlet. End of the shot clock. Pass is going to have to hoist again. And he hits again. Just give him the ball in the dying moments next time, would you? Watkins working it into Ewan. 2 baskets have come on lob dunks against Huntley Hatfield. Patiently spins around and spins it home.
Leonard Hamilton changing the tempo of the game, right? I mean, they're picking up full court. They've been doing that, but they're being more aggressive and taking NC State deep into the clock right here. Once again, there's that Iverson cut.
O'Connell 5 to shoot. Parker a deep one. Around and out. And Watkins secures the rebound with 1:45 to play. Both teams in the bonus. Ewan on the other side. Backing down Huntley Hatfield. Tried a left-handed pass to Watkins. Out of bounds with 15 to shoot.
Typically when Malik Ewing catches the ball in that position, he's not looking to pass, he's looking to score. And remember, I said Florida State's highest points per possession is off cuts, so that was Watkins trying to get to the bucket.
Yeah, Ewan is a good passer in addition to being a scorer, great rebounder. See if they can get him more involved down the stretch in the second half. A screen for Thomas here. And then get it, or try to get it inside to Ewan. Not a great pass, taken away by Trey Parker. And then Parker with a transition fadeaway. Leonard Hamilton will take the use it or lose it timeout. Will send us to break for 30 seconds. 1:08 to go in the half. Come on back for the final 68 ticks. Kevin Keats wanted his team to clean up the offensive glass again. They have really done that. They have 12 defensive rebounds. They've held Florida State to 1 offensive rebound. Only 3 steals for Florida State. They're starting to turn the heat up a little bit. This was the last basket for Trey Parker.
Watch Parker right here attack and then make a good choice. He sees Huntley Hatfield coming in to be able to rebound should he miss it. That was a good decision.
Watkins goes in strong again. He's got 15.
Yeah, anytime Coach Leonard Hamilton wants a basket, he just gives it to Jameer Watkins.
His season high is 30. He's halfway there in the half. First inbound was deflected. Now Parker will look to throw it in. He's got a timeout here, and he nearly threw it away again. I mean, NC State has a timeout, and Parker got bailed out there. And now, even with the 2 fouls, Kevin Keats says, I need to get Michael O'Connell into this game to control the last 57 seconds.
You got to set up your cut, and you got to be ready to deliver it. There you go.
It's into Taylor, Wolfpack's leading scorer on the year, who has just 2 points in the half. Got bumped there, no foul by Davis.
Bumped twice, and you had a 2-for-1 opportunity here.
Deep 3, Parker. Not sure if that's the shot Kevin Keats wanted. Davis slashing. The floater is good. Daquan Davis, a freshman, cuts the lead to 2. Now Kevin Keats would like the timeout, and it will be taken at 22.4. Nice surge to the end of the half here for Florida State. It's made its last 3, cut the lead to 2. They are featured men's college basketball matchup tomorrow. Back-to-back national champion UConn heads to Texas. We just saw Texas here in Raleigh 3 days ago, and it's a Texas team that has as good a scoring freshman as you're going to see in the country. Trey Johnson, likely lottery pick. So a great game, 5 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN and the ESPN app. Texas football, by the way, in the SEC championship, currently leading Georgia 3-0. Thanks to all you sickos who are hanging out here with us during the SEC football championship.
It's a big day of college football, but it's a great day in the ACC for the start of conference play.
Great day for multi-view. Great day for multiple devices. Is there a play you like to end the half here for NC State, or an action you like for Kevin Keats?
Yeah, they've been going to that Iverson cut. I know they like that. I think Marcus Hill might have the ball right here. He's been the most consistent in the first half.
Sorry, can you, for the folks who don't know, what is an Iverson cut? Can you define that?
It's like two players on the elbows, and you come off the screen going laterally across the court. So you come off of both screens, and you try to catch it at the end and try to swipe it through or rip it through.
And you know you're a good player when they name a cut for you, for the great Allen Iverson, the Hall of Famer. Georgetown Sixers, among others.
And then there's always the late ball screen, middle ball screen, which this one comes right here, a little bit of a slip.
O'Connell still controlling it. He's going to try to make a play here. Gets it out to Hill. Double clutch three. No good. And that's the end of the half. Now, NC State led pretty much the whole way. They lead for nearly 19 minutes. Florida State has not led, but the Noles have closed to within 2. Jameer Watkins had 15 points in the half for Florida State. Hill had 11 for the Wolfpack. Day one, game 1 of 20 in the ACC schedule. It's a big opportunity for somebody. And right now it's NC State ahead by 2 in a good one. Coming up after the break, our guys in the studio, Dallin Cuff, Seth Greenberg, with hopefully normal-sized hats. A fast and furious halftime entertainment. Corgi races here at Raleigh. The winner was a very good boy or girl, not sure. NC State leads Florida State by 2. Kevin Brown and Corgi enthusiast Debbie Antonelli, whose favorite Corgi was Skull Crusher in the halftime, or the only name we can remember.
It's the only name we can.
Right.
Yeah. There was a DJ Burns reference to one of those dogs.
Was there really? Also an electric passer, obviously. NC State leads this game by 2. Jameer Watkins for Florida State single-handedly keeping the Noles in the game. He's got 15 to 33.
So efficient, so good in situations. Leonard Hamilton knows he's a bucket, so he puts the ball in his hands. Coming off of timeouts, getting him downhill, getting him in space. He made all 9 of his free throws. He's got 15 at the half. He's a tough matchup all across the ACC.
Team shot it well. It was just a game played very slowly. A lot of long possessions. NC State 12 for 24. Kevin Keats' team holds Florida State to 1 offensive rebound. No second chance points. They get a big first half from Marcus Hill with 11. Remember, on Wednesday, NC State gave up just 2 offensive rebounds in the first half to Texas. 11 after the break, and Florida State, the second tallest team in the nation, will certainly want to be more aggressive on the glass. Seminoles start the second half with the ball in a game they have not led. And they get the ball in Watkins' hands quickly, guarded by Taylor.
NC State not switching in that man-to-man possession.
And immediately they give up an offensive rebound. 1 in the whole first half, 1 on the possession. And Ewan loses it on the way up against Middlebrooks.
Ben Middlebrooks doing a good job building a wall inside. Isn't that odd, though? You know, you think when you rotate, you switch, you end up opening up the glass, but you keep with your matchups, and that's just Ewan doing a great job getting on the boards. Remember, he had 11 offensive rebounds against LSU.
11 of his 17 in the game on Tuesday. O'Connell had 6 points for NC State, which hit 4 threes. Florida State just 1.
I think if you're Florida State, you got to be pleased with your defense for the most part, because 3 of those 4 threes were late clock.
Watkins steps in the passing lane, a takeaway, gets it back from Holt. Finds it cutting Bo Bowen, and Middlebrooks got way up and got him on the body. Second foul, Ben Middlebrooks, and Taylor Bo Bowen is still down. A hard crash for the 6'10" sophomore.
We just finished talking about the Florida State defense, and it results in a turnover by NC State. And then Watkins very unselfishly leaves it off for Bowen.
He had a quiet first half, picked up 3 fouls, missed his only shot attempt. 7.3 points per game, leads him in blocks, second in rebounds, second in steals. Hoping this is a breakout year for Taylor Bowen.
And he has all the tools. He's only going to get better. So long and athletic.
And he goes 1 for 2 from the line. O'Connell and NC State shoot 50% in the first half. They've now turned it over, though, 8 times, and they've only collected 5 assists on those 12 makes. To your point, a lot of late clock shots.
Well, both these teams, number 1 and 2, NC State, Florida State in turnover margin in the ACC.
Hill's miss couldn't be tipped home initially, but it is by Stiles cleaning up the miss for Middlebrooks.
And Dontrez Stiles coming off a big game against Texas where he had 17 points. He needs to get going for NC State.
Just his second basket. Watkins against Taylor. Middlebrooks very careful jumping out against Ewan, who can handle the ball very well, even at 6'11". 5 to shoot, Watkins. Taylor all over him. Watkins gets around, and a low bounce pass. Too low to be handled by Ewan, a turnover.
Watch Marcus Hill right here. Gets to the rim, and look at the effort on the glass. Stiles with an offensive rebound.
Came off the bench last game to just take in the speed of the game the first few minutes. O'Connell had that knocked away by Watkins.
The length is a factor, right? I mean, their ball pressure for Florida State is good. They play up the line. Sometimes they contact switch. Sometimes they jump switch. It's a different way of switching.
O'Connell gets around Watkins, and O'Connell straight line drive to score it.
That's one way you beat pressure.
8 for Michael O'Connell, above his season average of 7.4. Ewan trying to screen O'Connell for Holt, sets him up. Holt off side iron on a 3. He has not scored, the starter Boston Holt. Stiles sensing his moment here. And who's the foul on? It's going to be on Taylor Bowen. That's his 4th.
Yeah, Dontrez Stiles only played 8.5 minutes in the first half. He did pick up a couple of fouls, and he's going to have a chance here now at the line.
Had a slow couple of games in San Diego. Was 3 for 12 against Purdue and BYU, but really stepped up Wednesday. 17 points, just 24 minutes against Texas. Hit 3 threes. It's a young man who's done the rare double of playing for UNC and NC State. Started his career with the Heels, went to Georgetown, 13 a game last year. What do you like about his game?
I like his size and his length. I like his experience. And I think he's got to stack back-to-back games to be considered consistent.
Lead back to 7. It was 1 right out of the shoot here in the half. 6 straight for the Wolfpack.
When they miss Ewan, he just rolled Dontrez Stiles down to the block, and they missed him.
And Ted Valentine, I don't think his whistle was working there, or maybe he was calling for a foul for a couple of seconds there before the whistle went. It's going to be on Middlebrooks, and that's his 3rd. You could see at the end of that, Ted Valentine was signaling the foul. Just didn't hear the whistle. Boy, Watkins 64% at the line coming in, but he shot 80% last year. He's 10 for 10 there today.
You'll recognize him wearing #1 this year. Last year he wore #2. He's wearing #1 because he's the first from his family to go to college, and he's going to graduate with a Florida State degree.
Really special that he decided to come back. He felt a sense of responsibility with this young team to be a leader off the court. He's certainly been the leader on it. Maybe a pro career in his future. We'll see. Certainly can do a little bit of everything. Leads Florida State right now in points, rebounds, and assists in the game. 17, 3, and 2. He also has 2 of their 4 steals. Taylor left it short of foul.
The other thing that Florida State's defense does is it forces you to play off the bounce. And as much as you'd like to play off the pass and move it, Leonard Hamilton's D has great ball pressure, high hands, and then they load to the ball. They're very connected on the backside of their defense.
Jaden Taylor, best free throw shooter for the Pack, rims it out. Well, the ACC championship game tonight between Clemson and SMU. We'll have it on ABC, and also our ACC network crews are in Charlotte. We'll have you covered all night long. ACC Huddle to our pregame show, the Command Center alternate broadcast, and then the Huddle Gang postgame to see who's going to head to the college football playoff, how many teams the ACC will get. All of that is over on ACC Network on Championship Saturday.
Arizona State with an early win. They're in. It's a big day in college football.
Ewan got it to go home with the offhand.
So crafty around the rim.
8 points for Malik Ewan.
That's the #1 ranked junior college player coming out of JUCO last year.
I mean, he's going to win them some games in the ACC, no question, with his skill and size. Great get in recruiting for Florida State. He's got a couple of years of eligibility left, too. O'Connell, Ewan rips it away, ties it up. 6 to shoot with the arrow staying for NC State. So back and forth they go. The lead at 4 for NC State, the under 16.
How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? And I think you have to have an enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream, a goal, and you have to be willing to work for it.
It is V Week here at ESPN. We partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. And there is Mr. V himself, Jim Valvano, outside of Reynolds, his jersey up in the rafters here at the Lenovo Center. Game-changing research that saves lives. You can join the fight against cancer by going to v.org/donate. As always, 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. Jim Valvano, a hero to so many of us, and nowhere more, Debbie, than right here in Raleigh, where he is forever immortalized as a national championship winning coach.
He won a lot of hoops. He's in the Naismith Hall of Fame. He's got a statue out in front of Reynolds. But his incredible legacy is in the impact that he's had in cancer-saving research. Life-saving research, I should say.
Again, it's v.org/donate. Every
previous
dollar
play is under
cents.
review for a possible goaltender.
Everything that you can give makes a huge impact. So the officials ruled the last basket by Watkins to be a good basket due to a goaltend. And this play is being reviewed. There's a foul on the play as well.
Right, Kevin. You can look at this on the monitor because you put a whistle on it and called it goaltending on the floor. I don't think so. I think they're going to take it away because it didn't hit the backboard first, and it looks like it's still on its way up. Yeah, I think they're going to take this one away. See how quickly the officials come together on this.
After review, plays over called 2 shots, no goaltending.
Yep. So the foul on the floor will put him at the free throw line for 2 free throws.
So an overturn of the play. It's a foul on Taylor.
Because it could have been an and one.
I'm glad we have this, something that can be reviewed quickly. And not that we all want more reviews and more time at the monitor, but this is one that can be changed quickly. And a pivotal 2 points.
It's a good rule to have in. You can't look at it unless you blow the whistle and call it goaltending on the floor.
So, yet again, Jamir Watkins free throws. What more is new? 43rd game in 2 years at Florida State. He started every one of them. He's 12 for 12 at the line today.
And he doesn't take a play off on the other end of the floor either. He is locked in defensively. He knows he can impact his team's defense.
A moment of zen before lucky number 13. Florida State 11 for 25 from the field, 17 for 19 from the line. 2-point game again. Noles have never led.
Run a little floppy action down the baseline, and then it goes through that high ball screen. Throw it inside. He's open.
No, Huntley Hatfield didn't get him there.
If you threw it in there, that might have been a foul call.
Styles, another late clock triple.
That's 4 late clock triples by NC State.
And then Davis pushing after a make. Couldn't convert. Styles saves it. NC State precious few opportunities to play with tempo, and Watkins soars above the rim, and that will be counted as a goaltend by Ted Valentine.
And he's sure about it, emphatically called it good, and they don't need to look at it. At the peak, at the height, was that a goaltend? I think it was. Teddy Valentine in the trail had that call.
The rejection was less emphatic than the call by Ted Valentine as Thomas squeezes in his first 2.
That's what I think Florida State needs to keep doing. Go off the bounce, get it inside.
They have just 3 assists in the game on 12 made field goals, Florida State. NC State has just 6 on 16.
And they're only Florida State's only 1 of 6 from the 3-point line.
Styles, he'll drive it inside. He just lost his footing there. And Ewan lets it trickle into the Wolfpack bench.
You're driving into a crowd. There's nothing there. You got to have better body control right here if you're going to drive in there. There's nothing there for Dontrez Styles.
9th turnover for NC State. Chandler Jackson, very quiet game, early foul trouble. Watkins looking Ewan's way at first. Ewan will roll to the other block. Watkins will post O'Connell. Oh, great delivery. Watkins sets up the big man.
Patient. Really nice. Barkley's. Michael O'Connell in the block with his, down to the block with his size advantage.
That's a good verb. Barkley's.
Yeah. That's what they call it, where Charles Barkley used to back down.
He'll try to spin around Jackson, and he'll just get smothered and covered by Thomas. FSU looking to run. They got an open Davis for 3, and he's fouled. Daquan Davis fouled by O'Connell in the corner. Clarence Armstrong will signal the foul. Was it a 3-shot foul? If so, and it is, Davis can tie it at the line.
In a possession-for-possession game, which is what we have, and this is what it's been right here. Watch Watkins. The help rotates over. He leaves it off for an easy dunk for Ewan. And then on this side right here, when you're in a Euro through traffic like that, it's slow developing, and Florida State was waiting.
Davis, 78%, had been the Noles' best free throw shooter coming into the game. Freshman from Baltimore, spent a year at overtime elite last season. Look at what Florida State's done at the line as Davis misses the second. Now 21 attempts, 18 makes for Leonard Hamilton's team.
Well, the balance is NC State's made a few more threes, so it's kind of countered NC State's 3-point shooting.
Davis gets him back within 1. Game has only been tied once. Florida State's been within one now twice in the second half. They still have not led. Middlebrooks' dribble was terminated. Skips it to Styles. Off the shot fake, Taylor. O'Connell. Styles. No. And Jackson secures it.
That was a really good possession. Spaced the floor, moved it, got the shot you wanted.
Thomas for the lead for the first time for Florida State. It took him nearly 27.5 minutes.
Got to keep moving the basketball here, Kevin. You can't let it get stuck.
Middlebrooks searching. His outlet is Taylor, who drives it into traffic and scores it.
How did he finish? Ooh, what a move.
What a time for your first basket, Jaden Taylor. We may have a furious finish on our hands. Taylor picking up Watkins full court in a 49-all game. Game 1 of 20 as the bruising ACC schedule begins. Watkins back from Thomas. Hard drive by Watkins. Ewan over the top for the offensive rebound. Didn't travel, according to the officials. And Davis is set up for three.
How about the freshman for Leonard Hamilton knocking down another triple, and then the pressure. I think NC State's got to help. They need some help getting the ball in bounds.
Florida State, Debbie, had one three-pointer in the first 27.5 minutes of this game. They've hit back-to-back from deep. This one from Davis for a Florida State lead. A Seminoles charge has changed this game. Took about 27.5 minutes for Florida State to take the lead. NC State tied it. Florida State took it back. 12-2 run for Leonard Hamilton's Seminoles, and they're up by 3 here on the road in the ACC opener. Been a 3-man attack, really. Watkins with 19, Ewan with 10 and 5, and then Daquan Davis, a freshman's got 11. 40 of Florida State's 52 on the other side. Kevin Keats, who's done with his huddle. There's an official check right now. We're being told there's an official review for a goaltend, maybe the Watkins goaltend, because the other goaltend was
already
overturned.
Reviewed. Well, I think Florida State is in rhythm on both ends of the floor right now. Their defense has been disruptive, forcing NC State to play off the bounce. Part of the reason why NC State only has 6 assists.
All right, this is the goaltend that's being reviewed.
They scored it on the floor, but they didn't stop play to go look at it. They waited till the dead ball to do so.
Now the other goaltend was looked at in part because you had a free throw on the play. You had a foul on the play, so you had to know if that was a three-point opportunity or not. This has really taken a long time through the break. I mean, it's close. Is there enough there to say the ball is not yet at its height, not yet descending, to overturn the call on the floor, on the call on the court? Ted Valentine, Clarence Armstrong, Trey Styens. Here this year we do have the officials able to give us the call with a courtside microphone.
Well, this stoppage should help NC State get regrouped, right? Florida State has yet to break their huddle.
Yeah, NC State's just been hanging out here for a few minutes now.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
Is the ball still going up?
That's the question, right?
Either way, we've had a full media timeout here, and this is still being reviewed.
After review, the play at 14:48, the basket scored. The basket counts.
Okay.
So Teddy Valentine made the right call. It was a good call by official Valentine. Took a little while. Score remains the same.
Much ado about nothing, it turns out.
Well, Teddy Valentine came over here to let us know that that's as close as it's going to get for a goaltending, right?
Ted staying hydrated as well as part of this officiating crew. So it is NC State ball, down by 3. They've got Dennis Parker Jr. and Trey Parker, no relation, on the floor, with Ben Middlebrooks, Jaden Taylor, and Breon Pass. Smaller lineup for NC State.
They've been going with a small lineup most of the game, and I think it's been effective on the defensive end. They're playing 4 out around 1 in right now. Ben Middlebrooks on the block in the dunker spot.
Kick for Parker. Taylor, 3. He ties it again. Florida State's brought 3 off the bench as well. Boston Holt, Jerry Ding, and A.J. Swinton, along with Ewan and Thomas. So no Watkins on the floor for the time being. Thomas, wild pass looking for Ewan, and that was off of Middlebrooks. He was standing on the sideline when Parker tried to save it. Possession did not reset, so 10 to shoot.
It's just good job by Parker to get a piece of the paint and be ready to catch and score. Jaden Taylor in the deep corner.
Middlebrooks whacks that ball away. It's collected by Pass. He shovels to Taylor, and the Pack is back on top. Hard dribble by Thomas. His pass deflected. NC State very active out of the timeout. Taylor missed it. Swinton bricks the 3. Thomas long rebound, and he missed his shot at the rim. There's a foul. It's against Florida State. I guess Kevin Keats didn't need to keep the team in the huddle that much. Standing around on the court, they have been juiced up out of the under 12.
ACC play, right? You got to protect your home court. And Jameer Watkins comes back in the game for Florida State.
Second foul on Ewan, and yeah, that didn't last long for Watkins, who sits for a minute 22.
This pressure has a wear down effect, right? You're taking your depth, which Leonard Hamilton has a lot of, and you are really keeping the pressure on NC State.
In fact, it's nearly a full line change. 4 subs for Florida State. Jackson, Watkins, Bowen, and Davis back on the floor along with Ewan. Taylor spinning. Taylor draws a contact and a foul on Davis at the end of the shot clock. That's Davis's first, and free throws coming for Jaden Taylor. There have been some very long possessions, but NC State has made a lot of plays at the end of them.
Well, and that's the difference, right? Because as we've mentioned, the Florida State defense is so connected, such good defensive habits, and NC State's small lineup has had an impact on holding Florida State to 52 points as well. It's a team that's just under 80 points a game.
Is that sustainable, that late shot clock execution for Kevin Keats? It's not like they're Virginia and want to play 28-second possession.
I think you got a bunch of playmakers, and they all want the ball in their hands. That's a good quality to have in your team.
2 free throws make it a 4-point game. Jackson found you, and he's fouled by Middlebrooks, and he scores it. That is significant. It's a basket, and it's the 4th foul on Ben Middlebrooks.
Well, it's Chandler Jackson playing in that high ball screen. And there's the roll guy. At the rim, they shoot a high percentage around the rim. And their points per possession on the roll man is their second best scoring option so far in the season, according to Synergy.
How long do you keep Middlebrooks out there?
I'm leaving him out there for a while because I trust him if I'm Kevin Keats. Now, on the other side, I'm going right after him on the defensive end, right next time down.
Bo Bowen, who's guarding him right now, also playing with 4 fouls. And so, go after him. Bo Bowen gets help. Parker 3. Rebound Ewan.
Got to get some pressure on the ball here. This is what Ewan can do. He can take it right down. That's a charge.
Yes, it is. Middlebrooks laying it on the line with the 4 fouls. He just drew Ewan's 3rd.
This is your 5 player rebounding and then coming up the floor. No question about it.
I suppose, Debbie, that's why you leave him on the floor.
You trust him.
Although, right after that, he'll come out.
Well, because now you're worried. You're a little risky.
He gave him a contribution. It was a crucial 30 seconds, and now Huntley Hatfield will take him. McConnell is back for NC State as well. On the ball, up 1. Big opportunity game for both these teams in the ACC opener. Going to be a nice win for somebody. NC State coming off 3 straight losses to power conference teams. Parker just throws it, got a piece of the rim. Huntley Hatfield sticks it home, and that is Brandon Huntley Hatfield's first points and his first shot attempt. Now Watkins the other way. The cutter, Bo Bowen left it short, and Ewan got it back.
That's his first basket. That's not a dunk. Or second.
Yeah, he's got 6 field goals from a total about 6.6 feet away from the rim. Actually make it 7 field goals now. 1-point game again, under 8 to play. Parker pull up 3.
I think you got to get a piece of the paint to set up your 3-point shooting. When you're struggling to shoot it from the arc.
Ewan will try to back down Parker. 5 inches on him. Ewan spinning to the right hand. You want to win this game? Trust the Ewan theory. Florida State is back in front. Taylor right around Ewan. Looked a little gas there. And good help defense. Thomas came over.
You're absolutely right, because Ewan's saying, slow it down. He's looking at coach. They're going to call a timeout.
Good time to use it, as we still had not hit the 8-minute timeout. A well-deserved breather for Malik Ewan, who's on his way to another double-double potentially. Florida State up by 1 on the road. Malik Ewan, 6'11", 230 junior, has been working with the massage gun all throughout this timeout. He went over to the sideline. He just fell, just went down on the ground. This was the last basket, celebration, and then calling for a timeout. He wanted to come out of the game. After that, we saw Thomas blow by him. And look, Malik Ewan has played all but 252 of this game. 1 first-half substitution. He's played every second of the second half, it appears, until right now. Out of the game, but he has helped Florida State to a 1-point lead.
Well, he's already played 30 minutes, and that's atypical of a Leonard Hamilton team, right? I mean, he's got 9 guys that play between 12 and 26 minutes. But here's ACC play. It's a different time of the season.
And because there was a called timeout, this becomes the 8-minute timeout. So, folks in the control room, please clip that up for Debbie and I. That'll be our Emmy submission. What a stretch it was. 3rd foul on Dontrez Styles. And that will send us back to break. So more time with the gun for Malik Ewan. Well, it's been a great week in college basketball. 3 top 10 teams have gone down. Kentucky and Clemson in the SEC-ACC Challenge. Kansas to Creighton, Purdue, Penn State. Not a top 10 game here, but a significant game. Looks like another close game down the stretch as conference play opens in the ACC. And Malik Ewan right back on the floor and right back in the action. He's got 19 points, 8 rebounds, and Florida State's got a 3-point lead.
Leonard Hamilton's after timeouts have been outstanding. It's either been Ewan or Watkins.
And they are sharing the team high with 19. That's a new season high for Ewan.
NC State doing a good job moving the ball and then getting a nice duck in by Brandon Huntley Hatfield. In a possession-for-possession game, Kevin, it comes down to who executes the best.
And that foul is against Taylor Bowen.
When you have
When
you have good guards like Florida State has, you can come on the road and you can win in the ACC.
Yeah, that was against Watkins. Bowen was in there, but Watkins gets his second, so Bowen stays in the game. 4 fouls for him. Middlebrooks is not in the game with 4 for NC State. Styles with O'Connell, Huntley, Hatfield, Hill, and Parker. It's Styles, hard drive, and Bowen just may have gotten a little lucky there. Some contact, stays in the game, no foul called. Watkins drive around Huntley, Hatfield, and it's Ewan again. This guy is everywhere.
Another offensive rebound after only giving up 1 in the first half.
11 straight points for him.
Florida State has 6 in the second.
Feels like deja vu all over again for NC State. This is the Texas game with history repeating itself. Offensive rebounds in that one were 2 and 11 in the halves. O'Connell fouled, and that's going to be Ewan's 4th. So he's in some trouble, but on the other end, he's just dominating the game. First half had a couple of lob dunks, was a little bit of a factor, and they're just really playing through him, Debbie, in the second half to great effectiveness.
And look at the efficiency that he's playing with. He was 7 for 14 in the LSU game. And then Michael O'Connell, with everyone standing around, makes a play. NC State's got to keep moving. They got to get cuts through the lane, and they got to make their free throws here late. Certainly a problem in the Texas game, not making free throws.
O'Connell missed them both. NC State 12 for 18 at the line. They're 6 for 14 in the loss to Texas. 8-0 run for Florida State. Ewan. Thomas up top. This was ready that whole time, and he couldn't hit a wide open 3. Would have stretched the lead to 8. Instead, it's down to 3. Marcus Hill.
That's a big time downhill take. That's what NC State needs to do. Attack inside out.
Watkins on the drive. Thomas. Davis didn't want to shoot it this time. Against the graduate student O'Connell, who bodies him up. Ewan. Oh, what a find! And Bowen is fouled by Parker. I mean, that's just amazing late clock vision by Malik Ewan. Kevin Keats not happy with the foul.
I mean, watch this feed by Ewan on the cut, on the backside.
What do you think on the foul call?
Not much there. Nothing up top.
Bowen for 2. Jaden Taylor will get Trey Parker. The foul is his 2nd. Both teams will be in the bonus the rest of this game. 2 more points at the line for Florida State. 22 of 25.
And they're a team that shoots 67% as a team from the free throw line.
Taylor cut off by Watkins. Hill going to weasel his way in. That's a very difficult take. 1-on-3.
Well, the defense for Florida State continues to shrink, right? As NC State doesn't make enough threes, they shrink the defense, shrink the court.
Watkins fouled again.
I mean, he is just making a living at the free throw line in this one. He is 13 for 13. He's going to have a couple more when we come back.
Well, Florida State has only led this game for 4 minutes 35 seconds, but they can pull away now. They've taken total control in the second half. Malik Ewan with 21 points, 9 rebounds, 6 offensive. Jamir Watkins was the stalwart in the first half, just keeping the Noles in it, relentlessly attacking the paint. He has not scored in 12 minutes and quick math time. Not quite 12 minutes, to be 11:48. And he's going to go to the line now to try to add to his 13 for 13 day there. Two-man show, Debbie, and Ewan will get a breather, but what a two-man show it's been.
Yeah, they've combined for 40 of the 65, and they've combined to go 14 for 14 from the free throw line.
And Watkins has just tied his career high, 14 made free throws in a game. I mean, that is amazing. I know we're only 9 games in, but last in the ACC into the game, and they've gotten the right guys to the line today. That's nice of you to throw Ewan in there. That's like when I would play CYO and our leading scorer and I would combine for 21 points, and he'd have 20. But Ewan did hit his one, so he gets technically to be part of the equation. Thomas knocked it out of bounds. Great hustle still by Leonard Hamilton's team.
Let's see what NC State coming off the timeout right here. I'm looking for them to move the ball, try to get a piece of the paint, and then kick to a three-point shooter. Middlebrooks back on the floor with those 4 fouls.
6 of 19 from 3 in the game. Only 7 assists on 21 made baskets. Florida State has made them work. Here is Middlebrooks, bouncing it out for a good look. And that 3 missed by Taylor. Styles is there, soaring for the offensive rebound.
So they go inside out, they get the 3, they get the weak side rebound. Now you feel like that's a play that's worth more than 2 points because it gives you some momentum, and it gets the crowd back.
9 of 11 and a half for Styles. Watkins got hit. No, he traveled before it. Middlebrooks was reaching in for a potential 5th foul, and Watkins turns it over instead. Watkins' 4th turnover. It's his maybe biggest weakness. Leads the team in turnovers on the year, and he's got 4 today. Under 3 to play. State down 4 with the ball. Styles. It's at a big second half, and he's fouled on the jump shot. Justin Thomas hit with a foul. Ewan is back on the floor with 4 fouls. Justin Thomas with his 2nd.
Well, this is what NC State needs. Stop the clock, get to the free throw line. I think we'll see some full court pressure here. You can't get beat over the top.
Styles is a good free throw shooter. 78% last year at Georgetown. Kevin Keats wanted consistency from him. Didn't look like he'd get it after a 2-point first half. But Styles has scored 11 in the second half. Back-to-back games of 13 plus. It's a 2-point game.
Good job by Taylor, got a deflection.
So NC State is going with the 3 significant returners from last year. Taylor, O'Connell, Middlebrooks, plus Styles and Hill. Watkins, Ewan, Jackson, Davis, and Thomas, which is really the 5 that got Florida State back into the game.
This is Watkins or Ewan.
It's Ewan. wants it back with 2.5 to go. Playing point center right now. Ewan wants it again. A third touch on the possession. Driving at Middlebrooks. And that is an appropriate role for the way he's finished today.
What a nice left. He earned that one. He repositioned, reposted, got deeper catch, and then made a one-on-one move.
Maybe the most sought-after junior college recruit in the country. 23-9 for you and a season high in points. O'Connell feeds Middlebrooks. Oh boy! It's a basket. And then there's the foul to contend with because it's Malik Ewan's 5th. And the game's biggest presence will head to the bench for the final 151.
Well, Kevin Keats did an outstanding job managing Ben Middlebrooks' foul trouble here late in the game. Just a good job by Ben Middlebrooks to work without the ball to get a great catch. He's got 2 feet in the paint. On the penetration, he slides up the lane. And that is a weight room bucket by the senior for NC State.
"34 minutes for Malik Ewan, and it's NC State's number 34 who forces his final minute. Bo Bowen's back for Florida State. And Middlebrooks with a missed free throw, another key missed free throw at the end of the game for NC State. And he's just killed them these last 2 games. 6 for 14 against Texas. Missed a bunch of front ends and 1-on-1s too.
NC State's got to really communicate right here. They got to keep the ball in front. There's a switch. Middlebrooks with 4 fouls.
Davis from way out. Not even
close. What is the freshman doing? What is the freshman doing?
Delivering a souvenir to the pep band is what he's doing.
Watkins with the kick out.
There was some contact at the end of that play that was not called. So NC State will take a timeout. Kevin Keats still has 2 remaining. And he'll set up the offense. This is a 30-second break for us, but don't go anywhere. It's a lot of tense, interesting basketball to follow. These are the kind of games you really want to win in December to make you feel better about your team in March. We're not talking tournament yet. We're a ways away from that. But these are important games. These are significant games. 2 teams that would like to grow in the ACC. Florida State trying to get back to the league's best after 3 down years in a row. NC State, remember, they made the Final Four, but they only got in because of that crazy run. They'd like to establish themselves early in the year. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, and no Malik Ewan. He's fouled out with 23-9 for Florida State. What's the play here for the Wolfpack?
Yeah, I'm liking attacking the basket. I think it's a downhill by Marcus Hill, who's been the best driver all game.
Hill pushing himself into the corner right now. O'Connell will drive it. Out for Styles.
Good fill behind.
Here is Hill.
He's taking this to the basket.
1 minute to go. Instead, he'll set up O'Connell. 3, no. Rebound, Styles, and Styles will be part of a deflected ball that is last touched by FSU.
In a crowd, I don't know how Dontrez Styles came down with that basketball. There were 3 black jerseys around him. Watch this weak side rebound. How about the trust in Hill to hit the wide open O'Connell for 3. Look at this rebound.
18 to shoot. It was off of Watkins. O'Connell will inbound. Hill, Middlebrooks, Taylor, and Styles.
Remember, against Texas, NC State had trouble getting the ball in.
It was Taylor with a couple of misses late in the game in that one. Styles, 3. Yes! What a second half for Dontrez Styles.
2 points in the first half for Styles, coming off that 17-point performance against Texas. This is a big-time, want the ball, want the big shot moment for Dontrez Styles. 16 points now in the game.
Came off the bench last game for the first time, had a huge effort off the bench, and Kevin Keats put him back in the starting lineup. He was a non-factor for 20 minutes. He has been the factor in the second half for NC State, which is back on top by a point. Florida State has used its third timeout, down by 1 with 36 to go.
Well, this is all Jamir Watkins. You want him attacking the basket. NC State has been playing the second half, not switching on any ball screen action. Maybe switching on some weak side action. You got to keep the ball in front if you're the Wolfpack, and you definitely have to rebound. Florida State's best offensive rebounder, Malik Ewan, has fouled out of the basketball game. If you get in rotation and you're NC State, you better make sure you block out and then be prepared for Florida State to foul. And this is where, if you're Kevin Keats, who's your best free throw shooter? Right now, Styles is 4 for 4 in the game. Taylor is 5 for 6. Hill's not bad either at 4 for 6.
Florida State has 7 offensive rebounds. Ewan had 6, so they are severely limited in their ability to get a second chance. Watkins controlling. He's got 20 points in the game.
They've been so good in these ATOs all game. Here comes a slip high ball screen in the second. Watkins driving.
Watkins knocked away by O'Connell. It goes right to Thomas, and the rebound Taylor, and a big collision there. It'll be Watkins called for the foul as he and Taylor just crashed into each other inside the arc. That is going to be a 2-shot foul. NC State is in the double bonus.
This is a great defensive job. Over the top of this screen, O'Connell gets a deflection, forces Jamir Watkins to give it up. Big board by Jaden Taylor.
Third foul on Watkins. Jaden Taylor with an awfully quiet 12 today.
You know, depending on what happens here, you don't just need. Well, now you're going to drive it. Okay, now you don't need the 3, you're going to drive it. Free throws has been an issue for NC State in the late game.
Last 2 games, 20 for 36, and 2 games that have been 1-possession games down the stretch. Taylor, their best free throw shooter, goes 1 for 2. NC State uses its third timeout, so 1 remaining for each team. Taylor's got 13. Styles has 16. Hill 15 for NC State, but they're on defense now. Again, Florida State, no Malik Ewan, their best player in the game, 23-9. He fouled out with 1:51 to go. NC State has scored all 4 points since he fouled out. So, what's the play here for Leonard Hamilton?
Well, first of all, for NC State, let me start there, because you want to make sure everyone is aware of time and score, okay? And you know Jamir Watkins is probably going to get the ball here, so you don't have any fouls to give. You don't want to foul. You want to force them to take a contested jump shot, and then you got to make sure you rebound. For Florida State, you're attacking the rim. You're putting pressure on NC State defense. You're trying to get a piece of the paint. You're trying to take it downhill if you can. If I'm NC State, I don't want Jamir Watkins to touch the basketball right here. I want to make somebody else make a play.
He's got 20. Next highest scorer in the game is Davis with 11. Thomas, Bowen, and Jackson haven't scored much.
Double teaming Watkins right here with O'Connell and Dontrez Styles.
Thomas going to inbound it. And he will not find Watkins. It's Bull Bowen trying to get it to Watkins. Styles cut him off for a moment. Now Watkins, downhill drive, right into Middlebrooks. It's out of bounds off of Middlebrooks. No foul. Middlebrooks standing tall with the 4 fouls. Ted Valentine calls for a review of the possession with 12 seconds to go.
So he's trying to keep Watkins from getting the ball. He pushes off, and then here he is downhill. Look at Middlebrooks building a wall in transition. With 4 fouls, you have to make this play. He jumps straight up vertically. Wow. The ball on the floor is Florida State's, but they are taking a look at it. What a play by Middlebrooks.
I mean, how good has he been with 4 fouls?
We talked about Kevin Keats managing his foul trouble, and what a good job he had done.
Yep.
Offense, defense, substitutions, once he picked up his 4th. Remember, he picked up his 4th, Kevin Keats left him in, and then he drew a charge on the next play.
So who's the ball last touched by?
That is...
How do you tell
that is
there?
as close as you can. The momentum of the basketball makes you think that it's going off Florida State, right? The possession arrow does belong to Florida State should they decide this is too close.
It's a great point, because I'm not sure how you can tell definitively who it's off up there. And again, the call was Florida State ball. Trey Stein's going to go over and look. Ted Valentine said his look.
I don't know if there's enough there to overturn it. You got to go with the call on the floor.
So,
man, what a game.
So if it stays with Florida State, what do you dial up here in the huddle? 12 seconds to go.
Well, you're going to have a baseline out of bounds inbound, and I'm trying to get the ball to Watkins. I'm trying to get a post up quick. And the entry pass, NC State's got to make sure that they stay communicated and locked in on defensively here.
Maybe on the follow through by Watkins there, but
Maybe
again, it's
right
so
there.
close.
Is that the back of his hand? Does the rotation of the ball change?
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Oh, right there. Could you say right there it
Glances
comes
off
off the back of the hand?
I think you have to look at the rotation of the basketball there also. What a tough one. Hey, welcome to the ACC play.
You know, Kevin Keats said on Wednesday, the Texas game, it felt like one of those late February ACC games. This also feels like a late February ACC game. The difference is it is an ACC game. I know it's been a tough non-conference for the ACC, but this is a reminder of just how much of a grind conference play is. Trey Styles just came over here, and I think the officials would like to see if there's another angle on this play.
Well, the officials are asking for the scoreboard angle, the one that shoots from the scoreboard down to the basket.
All right, here it is. So Trey Styles now we're looking at our monitor.
Yeah, so Ben Middlebrooks looks like he's not out of bounds there. That was the angle that they were looking for. Now Trey Styles is going to go over there and discuss it with Clarence and Teddy.
At the review, the play stand.
Glad to provide the assist over here and let us know that we did not give our opinion to the officials while they were over here.
So just not enough to tell. And 12 seconds to go. It's a Florida State inbound. They haven't scored since the 2:15 mark, and that was by Malik Ewing. Davis, the freshman, to inbound it.
Look at Styles D'ing up Watkins. That's a foul on Styles.
Yes, it is. Before the ball even got in. Dontrez Styles commits his 4th. It's a 1-and-1. That's the 9th team foul.
I mean, Styles just wraps him up. There's no question that's a foul. Throw the flag on pass interference on that one.
And the clock is still at 12 seconds because the ball was never inbounded. Dead ball foul. So Watkins is going to go to the line. He's 14 for 15. He missed his last one after making 14 straight. Kevin Keats is trying to rile up the crowd here. A 1-and-1 for Jamir Watkins. The game's still being held. I'm not sure why. Ted Valentine is at the table again.
Well, if the ball had come in, you have to take .3 off, but the ball never came inbounds. That's like icing the shooter.
Yeah.
And it allows Kevin Keats to get a substitution in for a bigger rebounder on the line.
Trying to confirm the shooter, maybe. Kevin Keats trying to rile up the rowdy Wolfpack crowd. Watkins, 1-and-1.
All right, so NC State, should he make this, right? You're going to push and you're attacking.
Do you call timeout when you get across half court if you're NC State?
It depends on how quickly they get it across midcourt and what the matchups look like. Marcus Hill wants the basketball right here, I can tell you that.
For the tie. 16 for 17 at the line. Final timeout taken by Florida State. Watkins has tied it at 70. What a game. So NC State still has the timeout.
So you're going to use, you have the timeout in case you can't get the ball in bounds. And you know the full court pressure is coming from Florida State. You got to go downhill and you got to attack. You got to look for an offensive rebound.
Huntley Hatfield had just come into the game for Taylor, imagining Taylor will come back in.
Well, no time's going off the clock, so I have this in the game now for Battle for Atlantis. No time came off the clock. He has to stay in the game.
So maybe then you should call the timeout across midcourt, get him back in?
Yes, if that's what you want. You might have to burn your timeout just for that reason.
Kevin Keats is certainly scribbling over there.
We had that situation in the West Virginia-Gonzaga game in Battle for Atlantis.
And the officials caught it there. And NC State with the one timeout. Florida State's out of them. Florida State has led this game by as many as 6. NC State as many as 8. It's been a one-possession game for a good chunk of this second half.
You can run the baseline so you can get the ball in bounds. Leonard Hamilton says, boy, I've seen a lot of hoops and I've won a lot of games.
So Huntley Hatfield will be the inbounder with Hill, Middlebrooks, Styles, a leading scorer in the second half, and then Michael O'Connell.
You got to come back to the basketball and make sure you get it inbounds. You got to come to the ball.
That's what O'Connell does. Michael O'Connell dribbling. And there's the timeout with 7.7. It's the last one. And let's see now, Jaden Taylor's going to head over to the scorer's table. And great call on that, Debbie. He will come into the game. So
you had to burn that timeout. Now you got to make sure you can inbound it, but you get the right personnel on the floor offensively.
Yeah. So timeouts are just being burned one after another down the stretch. None left. Any foul, a two-shot foul for Florida State at this point. NC State 3 straight losses. They've had 3 big non-conference chances. Purdue, BYU, and Texas. They dropped them all. They got one big one left. That's next Saturday at Kansas, 3:15 ESPN. This is the conference opener. They're trying to snap the losing streak, trying to start ACC play with a win. Florida State, meanwhile, has lost 6 straight ACC openers and 9 of 10. They haven't won an ACC opener since 2017 against Wake Forest. So they're looking to right what is typically troubling trend for them off the start of the season. 7.7 on the clock. Malik Ewan, Florida State's best player tonight, has fouled out. Ben Middlebrooks has played well with 4. Dontrez Styles has 4 for NC State as well. The scores to know: Styles with 16, Hill with 15, Taylor with 13. And you can't discount Middlebrooks or O'Connell, who, remember, hit that big 3 against Virginia in the ACC semis at the buzzer last year.
You got 4 good drivers on the floor if you're Kevin Keatts. So you get the ball, you get your best passer inbounding the basketball, Michael O'Connell. Florida State's going to put size on the ball to take vision away. Florida State switches everything, and you got to rebound if you're the Seminoles.
This is it now. No timeouts remaining. O'Connell is the inbounder. Middlebrooks back to him. Michael O'Connell, the graduate student. O'Connell up top. It's Styles. It's Styles. It's long. It's overtime in Raleigh. Styles got to the rim, couldn't finish it. And there are 5 more minutes in our future to open ACC play.
A well-executed until the end when they didn't finish the play. It was a very good screen. It was a good dribble handoff. It was clean. Styles going down the left side of the floor. Watch this right here. Styles comes off a little pin down from Middlebrooks. You got Justin Thomas spinning around. He's got him beat. He just misses the layup.
And Middlebrooks tried the tip in. Don't know if that would have counted or not. On the official stats, it did count, but obviously that would have been reviewed. We're in overtime, tied at 70. And if you're a Florida State fan, you probably feel great right now for a couple of reasons. One is that you got the game here, having not led for 27.5 minutes. And the other is this: Florida State never loses in overtime. It's been years since Florida State has lost an overtime game. This is the longest streak in Division I history. They have won their last 14 overtime games spanning the last 7 seasons. Can we make sense of that? Probably not.
Amazing.
But Leonard Hamilton, whether he knows it or not, has been in the middle of a historic overtime run. Jamir Watkins, 22 points, 2 free throws at the end of the game with 12 seconds to go, sent it to OT. And now Florida State will have to play the full 5 without Malik Ewan, who fouled out.
Let me just point out that this game is already 2 hours and 35 minutes long.
Yeah. Let me just point out that it's always good to bake in extra padding for flights. And this game, which has been back and forth, appropriately begins overtime with a tie-up.
They're going to re-jump it.
All right. We've unplugged the machine, plugged it back in. Take 2. NC State wins the tip for real this time.
Fatigue is not a factor for either one of these teams, I can tell you that, because the way they rotate players in and out.
Marcus Hill. And he'll open the scoring in overtime. He's got 17 now, leading NC State.
You understand why Kevin Keatts went with Dontrez Styles on that last play, because he's had the bigger second half, but Marcus Hill was really good downhill in the first half, driving to the basket.
Middlebrooks and Styles are both playing with 4. Middlebrooks has had 4 since the 9:20 mark. Jackson throws it off the basket. I'm curious, Debbie, to see how Florida State survives. They survived a minute 51 without you, and now you have to go a whole 5 minutes without your leading scorer.
Well, you got a gang rebound on the defensive end. Everybody's got to crash. What they miss is his offensive rebounding.
Had 6 of them today. Taylor on the flip for Middlebrooks. Old Bowen, he's had 4 fouls forever. Middlebrooks against Thomas. Middlebrooks bullied his way in and then left it way short. Watkins. NC State back to defend in transition. Watkins only hit 3 shots from the field. He's hit 16 free throws. Not a great three-point shooter, as he shows. Davis, though, had the ball come right to him. Shot clock did not reset. They better figure that out. Bo Bowen against O'Connell. Bo Bowen, beautiful finish, and we're tied at 72.
Really good recognition by Florida State, and a big offensive rebound by the smallest player on the floor for Florida State, Daquan Davis.
Their only scholarship player shorter than 6'5" as their biggest rebound of the game to date. 72 apiece, 2 of the 5 minutes gone by in overtime. O'Connell sets up a 3. It's good for Styles. Thomas telegraphed the pass. A takeaway for Dontrez. And a finish. He is in style. Back to a 5-point game midway through overtime. And we've got a whistle. Florida State will take its only timeout of OT.
Dontrez Styles. Catch and shoot, and he steps into it. Nice delivery by O'Connell in the shooting pocket. And then the steal in the attack. And the finish.
What a fabulous way to open ACC play. NC State and Florida State. Dontrez Styles, after a 2-point first half, has erupted down the stretch, a season-high 21. He scored the last 5 here in overtime.
He's been a gamer. He's been a competitor. He wants the basketball. He came out of the locker room ready to make plays. And Michael O'Connell understands who to get the ball to. And Middlebrooks has survived 4 fouls, and Ewing sits on the bench with those 5, and he's gone.
Since Ewing came out of the game, 11-4 NC State. Inbound Bo Bowen. A lot of time left for Florida State. Jackson. His miss will be last touched by NC State. With 2:15 to go here in overtime.
It's who you trust. And your 3-year player, Chandler Jackson, turns the corner and has a great look.
Jackson has only scored 2 in the game. Bowen 5. They've each hit just 1 field goal. Watkins has done the dirty work. Leading into Styles. Got his own miss, and then O'Connell's quick hands strip it away. 6 steal for NC State. Couple of key moments defensively. O'Connell's gotten a hand on the ball against Watkins.
Big play.
Thomas jumped the passing lane there. They'll stay with NC State. 15 to shoot. How can you affect the team without scoring? Kevin Keats wanted to know. Michael O'Connell has done that.
He's a right side of the box score kind of player. He can get you assists, steals, and he manages the game.
Jackson knocked that one out of bounds.
You got to cut to the basketball here. And look for Florida State to throw a trap on you if they're going to catch it by the sideline.
O'Connell, by the way, after a tough game against Texas with 4 turnovers, 1 turnover in 34 minutes. So 9 turnovers in 9 games for him right now. And 4 assists tonight. Marcus Hill, top jumper.
It's the slip by Middlebrooks and the fill behind and the penetration.
Boy, that kid is a shot maker. 7-point lead, 90 seconds. Florida State not a 3-point shooting team. They've hit just 3. Watkins drive and score.
So they recognize the mismatch. They boomerang pass it back to Watkins and let him drive. Really smart play.
He's got 24, only his 4th made field goal. 2-possession game. Davis all over Taylor. Davis, I mean, he looks like he's trying to foul him, and then words exchanged and a technical foul. I think Ted Valentine's just called a double technical. I don't know what Taylor did there, but Ted Valentine broke it up. Technical foul pointed at both Taylor and Davis after an initial personal foul on Davis.
So you got the foul on the floor right here, which is going to be 2 free throws. And then words between the two, they separate. Teddy Valentine calls a technical foul on Davis. I don't think it's a double tech. I thought he pointed only at Davis. Oh no, both of them, he says. So we're going to get 2 free throws for the foul, and then the technical fouls are going to be offsetting fouls of equal gravity, Kevin. So NC State will get their 2 free throws.
All right, we get the explanation from Trey Steins. Do you think Davis was trying to foul there, or was he just trying to play really hard defense overzealously?
I think it was a patient whistle, because I think he fouled him in the backcourt first, and then the second time he bumped him. Teddy Valentine put a whistle on it. So, as I said, the technical fouls are offsetting.
Maybe the best thing to do is foul NC State, which is now 15 for 24 at the line.
Isn't that so ironic in Jimmy V week that Coach Valvano won a national championship fouling Houston in '83?
Taylor gets the second, so it's a 2-possession game only if they're threes. And again, this is not a good 3-point shooting team. There's their best 3-point shooter. Dang, missed it. And the rebound secured by Hill. And now a foul.
Well, it's a timeout.
A timeout first.
You know what, Kevin? It's a good timeout, because that's a great trap by Florida State on the baseline.
So NC State uses its overtime timeout, and now nobody has one left. So now you have to foul at some point if you're Florida State. If you force a miss, you might have it down 6 or 25 seconds to go. Do you try to get trapped first?
I think you're trying to trap and trying to get a steal. I'm not sure that Leonard Hamilton's going to foul right now. I think he might try to play this out here and see if he can get a stop.
So let's say you get it and they bleed the clock. That would leave them about 25 seconds or so down at least 6. Remember, Bobo and Davis now have 4. Davis picked up a personal and a tech on the same play.
I think you got to play it out right here. Try to trap, try to steal. Get your best defenders on the floor.
Malik Ewan is just helpless at this point. He fouled out with 1:51 to go in regulation in a 68-66 game. Florida State was leading at that time. They've been outscored 14-6 since he fouled out, and Jackson will foul right away. So Marcus Hill.
You can make this a 3-possession game right here at the free throw line. And as you stated, Florida State's not the best 3-point shooting team.
Jackson's 3rd. Hill's now 18 for 32 at the line this year. 2-shot foul. This is my first time seeing Marcus Hill in person, and I'm just so impressed at what a tough shot maker he is. And I think a lot of NC State folks have been impressed how well his game's translated up from the MAC. He was a leading scorer in that conference, and he's got 21 today. It is a 3-possession game. At some point, you need a 3.
And Johnny Dang is one of their better 3-point shooters.
Davis will take it instead. That's not close. Rebound Hill. And Hill is fouled with 35.9 to go. And the icing is coming onto the top of the cake right now.
Jerry Dang has made the most threes for Florida State this season coming into the game. Davis is 1 for 4 from the three-point line. Dang is 1 for 3.
Hill 6 for 8 at the free throw line. Hits another. Another player who struggled in the Purdue and BYU games, and like Styles has played really well since. And he's now taken over the scoring lead from Styles today. Hill's got 23, Styles 22. And those two have 13 of the 14 in overtime. Watkins misses a 3. O'Connell the rebound. Shot clock's off. Middlebrooks and O'Connell. And O'Connell, realizing the shot clock's off, will just take it out. Great way to snap a 3-game losing streak for NC State. They were tested in this game. Led most of the way. Coughed it up late. Get some big buckets at the end of regulation. And dominate overtime. And that is it. The streak is over for Florida State. 14 straight overtime wins. The longest streak in Division I history. It ends in Raleigh today. Wolfpack with a great win.
It's a great team win by committee on the glass. They didn't turn it over. They made the plays they needed to make. Late game. Time for Wolfpack to celebrate, protecting their home court here. 10-point win in overtime by the Pack.
Yeah, their next big test will be a week from today at Kansas, but this is a great way to start ACC play and a really fun way for us to begin conference play. Florida State drops its 7th straight ACC opener, 84-74. The final score for Debbie Antonelli and our entire outstanding crew. Kevin Brown. A lot more great college basketball, college football, college sports of all kinds coming up today. The Wolfpack, a winner to kick off the conference season.